fencing, fighting, torture, revenge, giants, monsters, chases, escapes, true love, miracles.
Doesn't sound too bad.
As you wish.
Hello! Welcome to 5225 week 39. This week we're talking about my favorite movies. If you haven't watched any of the movies from this week, or from any of the episodes from this week, I'm releasing one every day, the week of my birthday. And this one is actually going to be the day before my birthday. Tomorrow is the last day. So be sure to catch my favorite movie on the tomorrow's episode. But joining me are my co-hosts from the Infinite Reimagined podcast, Sayre and Nick Davis. And I'll let them speak in a moment. This is my time. No, Princess Bride is the movie we're talking about. If you've never seen it, we're probably going to get into some spoiler territory, but if you haven't seen it, what are you doing? Stop this, go watch Princess Bride and come back. But I actually came to this a little bit later than one would expect, considering how much I love it, because I didn't actually watch this when I was growing up. I was a fan of like everybody involved with this movie growing up, but I just never actually saw this movie. To me, Carrie Elwes was the villain from Twister, the boyfriend in Liar Liar, and Robin Hood in Robin Hood Men in Tights. And I think that the Robin Hood Men in Tights thing was what kept me from seeing this, and not because I didn't want to see it, but because I felt like that kind of filled the void of the Errol Flynn character that he plays so well. And so I actually didn't end up seeing this until I was a teenager, when I started working at the video store when I was 17. And I watched it and instantly fell in love. Like, I was like, what have I been doing? Why have I let this movie go to the wayside for so long? And then I read the book, which I love. It's one of my favorite books also. And then I married a woman whose favorite movie is The Princess Bride, which is amazing, because we get to love that movie together. Also, my surrogate sister, Michelle, her favorite movie is The Princess Bride, and I was going to have them on this episode instead of these two jamokes, but neither of them wanted to. So no, I wanted to get them on for one of these, and this felt like the perfect one anyway. So let me throw it over to Mike. Mike, when did you fall in love with Princess Bride?
Okay, I definitely have, I was definitely a kid when I watched this, and I probably watched it before my first memory of it, because my first memory of it, I was like 8 years old, which means this movie had already been out for like 5 years. And it was one like my grandpa would watch it. Sometimes I would be over at their place and like he would be watching me or something, and so he would always watch like the old Sinbad the pirate movies from like the 60s, and so like this was kind of the most modern and freshest fantasy movie I'd ever seen when I saw it, and I just remember it instantly being like my favorite thing in the world, and I literally don't know how many times I've watched it since, but it's definitely a very high number.
When your grandfather would show it to you, would you say, "Is this a kissing movie?"
No, I never said that. No.
But that's actually a sweet little like parallel that your grandfather
Yeah.
showed it to you, considering the story in there. Yeah. What were you gonna say something else, Mike?
Oh no, I was just gonna say I remember like I actually love the interludes and the framing device of the grandfather reading the book to his grandson now, probably because of like those source memories. But I do kind of remember the first time being like, get the Wonder Years kid off the screen and get back to the sword fighting. What's happening?
Well, that's pretty good parallel too, I guess. Nick, when did you fall in love with The Princess Bride?
I actually, I'm not that much younger than you guys, but I came to the movie significantly later. I like my parents didn't do a lot of like high fantasy kind of stuff when I was a kid, so I first encountered. My brother and his then girlfriend were reading the book together. And I came home and they were watching the movie together. I think I was 14, 15. And they started the movie over for me. And I sat and watched through it with them. And it was like silly and light and fun, but also like it had the emotional depth and weight that a story of that caliber in a way that I simply was not used to. Like I read a lot of fantasy as a kid, but nothing. This is going to sound really odd, but like romance stories they didn't appeal to me. And this is a story that at its core, true love is the message.
So you also weren't into kissing books, and this appealed to you. So many parallels, guys. It's fun because like I said, I read this book, and the novel is written by the same guy who wrote the screenplay for the movie, and which I think sometimes that can be really good. Like there's stories like about like Michael Crichton being fired from Jurassic Park because he wouldn't stay close enough to the book, which is wild to me. But sometimes those having the author of the book write the screenplay can be not good because that's not their medium, and sometimes it can turn out something really great. In this case, he's also a screenwriter. Like he's an Oscar-winning screenwriter, so he had no problem with that. I love the how close it sticks to the book, because the book has a very similar framing device. It's more, but the book is like this is the book has like an introduction section that's like, this is the story. This is what my grandfather used to read to me when I was a kid, but he would cut out the parts that were too boring because it was a satire. S. Morgenstern wasn't real. This book wasn't real, but the book presents it as though he had acquired a copy of this book that his dad had used to read to him. And so what the book actually is, once you actually get to past that portion of it, the book is his edited version of it. It's the best parts version. And which I love, which means there are entire chapters that are just, my dad would skip this one, and then you would go on to the next chapter, and it would be a chapter. But which it's my kind of stuff. It's meta. It's silly. It appeals to me. That's my kind of stuff. But the movie, it fits so close to that source material, and it is so. Not only is the writing very, very sharp and very good, but the casting is just incredible in this movie. Andre the Giant is perfect.
He is Fezzik, right? He just is.
He just is. He is. He's incredible. Our Wi-Fi, the name of our Wi-Fi in our house is Anybody Want a Peanut? Because that's no more writing now. I mean it. Anybody
And I
want a
assume
peanut?
the password is also related to Princess Bride.
No, the
now that we're
password
putting
is
this out
something.
into the world.
The password is something else. But that is our the name of our Wi-Fi at our house.
We
But,
almost broke into his Wi-Fi.
yeah.
So close.
But Carrie Elwes, as I said, just he's so. I've been a fan of his forever, and not because of this, but because of a lot of other things. But he is like the Errol Flynn archetype. Like, I think they missed
Charming,
the
witty,
boat somewhere.
urbane.
Him not playing that character, like a biopic of some of Errol Flynn at some point.
It's interesting because like you said, he did the Robin Hood Men in Tights, which is essentially the same role,
Mm-hmm.
just with a little bit of a parody slant to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it really did typecast Carrie Elwes for me. Having seen Men in Tights and then Princess Bride, I was just like, oh, so that's just what this guy does. He just plays Robin Hood-esque characters.
Right.
And that was all my brain would ever see him as. Seeing him in any other role for the longest time felt unnatural to me.
I bet Saw was really hard for you, huh?
For a lot of reasons, but yeah.
No, I think that probably had an effect on his career, because it's not like he became this huge name, and I think that this is probably what he's most known for, is the Princess Bride at this point, which, you know, I think he took a little bit of he kind of was out of the light for a little while, and then he came back with Saw, and then like anytime I've seen him since then, it's very much a similar type of character, although maybe not exactly the same. Like on the TV show Psych, he plays an international art thief, which is just a modern version of the Robin Hood and the Dread Pirate Roberts characters. But Mandy Patinkin is so wonderful in this movie, and which I love him. If I hope he never dies. Unfortunately, I'm sure that's not going to be the case, but I hope he never dies, and I hope nothing ever bad happens. There's very few people. Actually, there are a few people in Hollywood that when I'm watching them, I'm like, please don't have ever done anything wrong. Like, if you have done something wrong, it's going to destroy me. And Mandy Patinkin is one of them. If you have never seen him talking about his father's cancer and how he channeled that into his Inigo Montoya role, and how when he said, "I want my father back, you son of a bitch," he was not talking to Count Rugen. He was talking to the cancer that took his father. You will not have a dry eye. It is heartbreaking but beautiful. What are some of you guys' favorite performances in the movie?
You were talking about Mandy Patinkin, and Mandy Patinkin, I think, has some of the best scenes, if not all of the best scenes in the Princess. And there's a lot of good scenes in the Princess Bride. Don't get me wrong, right? But like, for your like kind of like casual witty banter, I do not think that means what you think it means is like, you know, that's like the most memeable moment from the entire movie, and everything about it is perfect when you're watching it, right?
Yeah. I will counter with my favorite Inigo moment is let me explain. No time. Let me summarize.
Let me sum up.
Yeah.
It's perfect. And like the entire scene of him and the Count and the race through the castle, you know, "Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die."
Stop saying that.
It's amazing, right? And like, you don't even know how much of like that was intentional, because the whole chase feels very natural. You know, when the Count's like flipping over the suits of armor and they're running through and slamming the doors, and every little piece of that entire scene just feels like so real. It's one of the things about The Princess Bride for me that I think is why I like it so much, is because even though it does have this very scripted kind of like period influenced dialogue and everything else, it nonetheless consistently just feels very like real and relatable in a way. You know what I mean? Like you just
Feels grounded.
yes.
My favorite part of the scene with the duel between Inigo and Count Rugen is where Inigo draws his sword and Count Rugen draws his sword, and then he turns and runs away. It was so unexpected for me. Like I was used to, you know, fantasy stories where the hero and the villain meet on the field of battle and there is no retreat. And Count Rugen is just like, oh no, I can't win this. I'm out.
Well, to me, that's also such a good callback to earlier in the movie when they're looking at the battlefield, you know, after Wesley and Inigo have fought. He's like, 2 master swordsmen fought here. And just imagine, like, you're sitting on a horse as Humperdinck is like, and then he seems to have done a triple axel backflip over this bar, caught his sword, and like, of course you run away when you suddenly find yourself in a duel with that guy.
Yeah. I like what you were saying there about the how kind of grounded it feels, and not like, and it still feels like fantasy, and that's one thing I really love about it. In fact,
It feels grounded in its setting, not in reality.
Exactly. It feels very grounded in its setting, which I absolutely love. It has the same quality that Shaun of the Dead has, which is that it is in a way parodying the form, but it is in itself part of that form on its own. Like it stands on its own as that thing,
like Galaxy Quest, right? Galaxy Quest is one of the 4 best Star Trek movies, even though it is not Star Trek, because it is a parody, but it is a parody that comes from a place of such extreme love and reverence for the thing it is displaying.
Right, exactly.
It feels like it is aware of the tropes of its own trappings, and it, rather than trying to lean away from them, which a lot of popular media will try and do, it leans right in the best ways.
Yeah, it knows exactly what it is, and it doesn't feel a great need to apologize for that. It's like, I am this, and that's why we're all here. That's a good thing.
And it also doesn't try to pretend it's not what it is, or that it is what it isn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Inconceivable. The Wallace Shawn, I think, has, possibly the most iconic moment in the movie, just simply because it's again, like you said before about whatever you had said it about, it's incredibly memeable, and it has lived on the internet, even above it, the movie itself, which I think is great. I think that I love how he kind of steals the movie for the first, for that first act. But it's good that he goes away after that, because I think we have as much of that character as we need at that point, and any more might feel like too much. I think they balance it perfectly, which leads to, I think the balance in this movie is it's so incredibly well balanced, because it's you can see the 3-act structure, the very, there's the beginning that we were just talking about with the chase and and him getting to her. There's the middle where they reunite, and then there's the end where he has to go save her. Like but the balance that they strike with that is just, it's so well done. And I think that one thing that you can do with this type of movie is things can overstay their welcome, and I think that it does a very, very good job at making sure that doesn't happen. And I've heard criticisms about, like, that Fezzik, Inigo, and Vicini are the best characters, and when they're not in it, it's not as interesting. I just completely disagree with that. But also, I think that is to the movie's benefit that you get, even if they are the best characters, that you can't have them there the whole time because they will steal the focus. So I think that all that is used very perfectly.
Yeah, there's like kind of an important transition that happens in that it understands that like the strongest grouping of characters in this is like almost the classic D&D party where you've got the brains, the skill, and the muscle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you first meet the group, that's Vicini, Fezzik, and Inigo, and then after Vicini dies in the cup scene, Wesley becomes the brains, and they actually take, because he has to beat all three of them first, right? He has to run the gauntlet because he's the hero, and we have to establish that. But after his throwdown with them, when he takes Vicini's place, they actually remove his ability to be the skill and the muscle that he's already proven he has investing them. And he slots into that brain slot, and that's where he lives for the rest of the movie.
Yes.
So while Vicini may go away, they recognize basically from the beginning all the way through the end of the movie how important that classic trio of there is somebody who fills each of these slots, and having those slots filled is so essential to a good adventure story. And they just execute on it kind of like flawlessly from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Well, furthermore on that, the fact that the only one of the three initial villains that we meet in Inigo, Fezzik, and Vicini is the only one who dies.
Mm-hmm.
Vicini is the only one who dies because of choices that he made.
Mm-hmm.
The other two, Wesley spares them not because of some misguided desire to not kill. He very clearly doesn't have an issue with killing, but it's because he had no personal vendetta against them.
Right.
Vicini directly put Buttercup in danger, therefore he needed to die.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You guys are both very spot on with your analysis of this.
We need to go out and spend like the last 5 minutes of this just debating the Muppet castings for the inevitable Muppet Princess Bride.
Okay. That I'm leaving that in because we do need to talk about that. Because there's the meme going around like, it should be a Muppet where the only human is Wesley, which I disagree with that. I think that the only human should be Prince Humperdinck.
Humperdinck, yes, correct.
Kermit should be Wesley, and Miss Piggy as
Buttercup, obviously.
Fozzie as Miracle Max. Sweetums as Fezzik.
And Gonzo is Inigo.
Yes, exactly what I was about to say. Yes, exactly.
I would push back against Miracle Max, and I would say Waldorf and Statler for
no, because
Miracle
Waldorf
Max
and
and
Statler are the grandpas telling Robin the frog the story.
Yes,
I don't hate that. Yeah,
nope, you're right. You got it.
I always run into like the juncture of Miracle Max and his wife, and then the albino. Like, where is the best place to put Professor Honeydew and Beaker, because they can fit collectively in either of those slots. Like, they can both of them together be the albino, or they can be Miracle Max and his wife. And I think having them as Miracle Max and his wife is the expected way to go. It's easy. It's very doable. But you lose like some of the fun lines. And part of that is just because maybe that's actually the best way to do it, because no one will ever be able to top Carol Kane as Max's wife. And maybe you don't even try to match that scene. Maybe you roll the story through and just have it be Beaker and Honeydew, right?
I mean, that is a good point. I do think Beaker should be the six-fingered man. I think you should be Count Rugen.
I was gonna
and-
say Sam the Eagle is the six-fingered man, because he's the kind of like stoic and normally Rugen is lending a sense of stability and calm to any scene up until like the
he's
final
the he's
fight,
the
right?
mustache twirl. Like he is
Yes.
always the mustache twirl.
But can you imagine Beaker on the horse, just kind of, and then like he's standing there and he's got like the sixth finger. Like, I don't know, that works so well for me. I do think
Everybody
I would
else
do
is
Honeydew
playing
as
it straight against Beaker. Like,
yes, exactly. I do think I would do Honeydew as the albino though. I do feel like that is the correct casting there. But
the clergyman.
That's my thought. Yeah.
Yeah, the clergyman is, of course, the Swedish chef.
Yes,
Yeah.
obviously.
Birdie.
Speaking of clergy, I am an ordained minister for weddings. I can also bless things if you want, but it's going to do about as good as a priest blessing them. So there you go. So I'm an ordained minister, and one of my weddings was for Michelle, who I mentioned before, my surrogate sister. She's my best friend, like other than my wife, who is also my best friend. Anyway, it's an important note. I was the officiant at her wedding, and I put at least 3 references to The Princess Bride in my thing, in the speech, whatever you call that wedding thing. First one, I started it obviously the way you have to, which is marriage together today. Yes, I started it off there, and then I'm like, I'm just kidding, and I move on. But when I said, at one point I say, because true love is the greatest thing in the world, except an MLT, mutton, lettuce, and tomato sandwich. When the mutton is nice and lean and the tomato is right. And then after I pronounced them, I told them to have fun storming the castle. And I don't remember. There might have been other ones, but those are the 3 big ones I remember. So I did incorporate The Princess Bride into one of the weddings I have performed.
Morgan and I, when we got married, our song, the first song that we danced to after the ceremony, was Mark Knopfler's Storybook Love, which is, of course, from The Princess Bride.
Yes, that's so cool. I love that song.
I similarly am an ordained minister, and have opened 3 of the 5 weddings that I've done with marriage.
Yeah.
So
Nice. That's yeah. That's it, you have to. I mean, you don't have to. Most people, if the couple is game for it, and they want, like, if they want that, like, it's classic.
I feel like people like you and I, Matty, if someone is asking us to be the officiant at their wedding, they know what they're getting into. They are asking for that.
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. Although one of them did provide me with a script, and which I could make no alterations to. I'm like, well, then why do you want me? Like, I assumed I was here for my ability to make this interesting and fun, but whatever. But anyway,
we're deep into this conversation of like love and how this has impacted us in the real world. So really fast, I just want to take us back to the Muppets for a moment.
Yes.
And have you imagine for a moment the fire swamp as Kermit and Miss Piggy are going through, and then Rizzo the rat just comes flying from off screen and fully tackles Kermit, because who else would possibly play the rodent of unusual size other than Rizzo?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I just had to bring us back there for just a moment. We didn't say it. I knew we all knew it was just right there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So my partner and I will frequently play the cast a movie with one person and everyone else's Muppets, cast the Muppets. And then we do the inverse. There is one Muppet in the movie and everyone else stays the same. If you had to put one Muppet in this movie, who would it be?
honestly, and this might not be as fun, but my favorite Muppet is Statler and Waldorf, so I would probably make them the grandpas. It's probably would be but that's not part of the fantasy part, so I don't know.
It does make them the narrators of the film, though.
That's true.
Right?
Yes, that is true.
And you probably end up having some kind of, lingering as that goes on, because Grandpa always introduces the scene and then his voice fades away as we go into the scene, and you would probably have a little bit longer commentary going into each scene in that event.
The back and forth.
Yeah.
Personally, I would say that like leaving Prince Humperdinck as the Muppet actually works there. Just keeping the role the same. He is the one person who is out of place.
That actually makes sense.
For me,
which Muppet would you make Prince Humperdinck?
Depends on what you're going for here, because Kermit
the Frog would be my answer for Humperdinck.
Nice.
Yeah, well, because he doesn't villain very well, and neither does Kermit.
Yeah.
But Humperdinck does have a lot of the like, who hired this crew energy, right? Like,
that's true. You're right. Yeah. He does. No, that's right. Humperdinck does have the energy of someone trying to run a live primetime variety show that can't get it under control. That's absolutely correct.
I think we found the answer. I think we got it in one.
I will propose the alternative. If I could only pick one character to replace with a Muppet, I would replace Buttercup with Miss Piggy and then run the rest of the movie.
Call it good.
That's actually excellent. And that's the only reason, because, I've rejected the idea that Wesley is the only human. But the only reason that would work is because Piggy works so well flirting with humans. Like that, there is a sexual chemistry between Piggy and what a handsome man. Like that's just true. So that does at least work. So I do like that. My middleest son is named Wesley with a T, the way that it's spelled in this movie, and that is because my wife and I both love this movie, and we named him after that. The first time we showed it to him and told him about it, he was so happy. And then we have a picture of him pointing at the Carrie Elwes as Wesley thing because it's his name. It was very cute. But yeah, my son is named after this movie.
That's beautiful. I love that.
All right. Well, we are coming close to the end here. Do you guys have any final thoughts, final points you wanted to bring up before we end? Mike or Nick?
Ooh, just throwing it to me. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna let Nick go first here.
Nick.
And
Nick's going first.
Sure. I can go first if you want. That's fine. I'm here.
Nick, do you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, for me, you referenced it earlier, but hearing Mandy Patinkin talk about the "I want my father back" scene, the raw emotionality of that scene, where he has Count Rugen dead to rights. He has inflicted the wounds on his face that were inflicted on his face as a child. He has wounded his arms. And he's telling Count Rugen, tell me that you can give me money, that you can give me power, that you'll give me anything I want. And then runs him through saying that the one thing that I want is the one thing you can't give me. Like it is
I want my father back, you son of a bitch.
It's like the idea of the man who seeks revenge must dig two graves. But I mean, he gets exactly what he set out for. He gets his revenge. He avenges his father, and he gets to have a life after that. Mm-hmm. And it's such a cool scene. The one swear in the movie, and it's so passionate and just such a gut punch. I love it. It's such a good scene.
Yes, I agree. I love that too. And as someone who has lost a parent, it is there's something cathartic about it, especially now that I know everything that went on with it. As I was watching it today, I was like, I felt it. I felt it more than I normally do, and so I definitely agree that that scene is so well done. Mike,
Yeah.
thoughts?
So there is something about, like, the Princess Bride will take you through these very real, very visceral interactions, and then will just give you, like, it will remind you that this is fantasy, right? That even though it is presumably set in the real world, that there's still these little bits of magic. And I think one of the best like moments of that is at the end, where we haven't really seen Fezzik for a little while. He's been off screen for a bit, and he just shows up at the end to be like, I was in the stables and I just happened to stumble upon these 3 white horses, because we have to end this beautiful fantasy romance movie with everybody riding away on the white horses. And that's just like the delivery of The Princess Bride. Is like, anytime you have wandered too deep into an emotion, it comes back and it brings you the trope you've been waiting for in this kind of delightful, sincere way. And I just love that.
Hello,
To
lady.
the pain scene. Oh, hello, lady. Oh, God.
That's actually I was going to end on the pain, so we can talk about that right now, because to the pain, when his final words during that whole scene is incredible. When he says, "It's conceivable I'm only lying here because I lack the strength to stand, but maybe I have the strength after all." And he stands up, drop your sword. One of my favorite moments in all of cinema. Like, it doesn't give me the chills the way it used to, but there was a time that every time I watched that scene, when I worked at the video store, I watched that movie like on loop in the store, like just let it play. And every time that part would come back, I would walk back to the back where the TVs were, and watch that. Chills every time. I've seen this so much that I've become desensitized to it, but it's never stopped being amazing and one of my favorite things. I love that moment. It's incredible. It's inspiring. It's just badass. Like, there should be no question if Wesley is a badass in this movie, because he obviously is. But any questions you had are put to bed at that moment, where he bests his opponent without touching him, and it's beautiful. It's the best intimidation role that has ever happened in movies.
Well, and it's funny because you think about, like, Humperdinck you haven't really seen Humperdinck directly fight. He's always surrounded by guys. You wonder if there's a little bit of, like, cowardice at play there. You're also so impressed by, like, Wesley's charisma and strength of will to stand and do the drop your sword. But you also have to remember, like we talked about earlier, when Count Rugen runs away, is Humperdinck and Rugen both saw the battlefield from the most impressive sword fight in the movie, and absolutely the correct reaction to anybody who, like, correctly interpreted what happened between Wesley and Inigo is not to mess with either of these guys in a fair fight.
That's true. I also love that Humperdinck's like, "I knew you were faking." Well, you still sat down.
You still folded, man. You still folded.
Nick, you were about to bring this up, so do you have additional things to say about it?
I love you called it already. It's the best intimidation and bluff role that a person has ever made. But when Humperdinck says "to the death," and you're like, okay, this is standard fantasy trope area, and Wesley counters with "to the pain." And if you've never read the book, if you've never seen the movie, if you're not familiar, you just like Humperdinck just go, I'm not familiar and I don't know what this means. Am I out of the loop? What happened here? And then he starts describing it, and you go on this ride with him, and you're just like, I actually don't really want to watch that fight. Okay, I'm good.
I love, yeah, I agree. And I love that moment in there. It's like, and then my ears, get on with it. No, your ears you keep. So
Yes.
every child who, yeah, I love
What
that
is
whole
that
thing.
thing?
It's so good.
It's brilliant.
It is brilliant. Obviously, this movie means a lot to me. It clearly means a lot to them. If you've never seen it and you're still watching this, go watch The Princess Bride. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful film. Mike, tell them about you and where they can find you and what they can buy from you.
My name is Mike Sayre. I'm the design lead for the Infinite Reimagined tabletop RPG. You can find stories and articles written by me at infinitereimagined.com, and you can also find the quick start guide for the RPG, some low-level adventures, and lots of cool merch there as well.
There will be a link in the description to that. Nick, tell us about yourself. Where can they find you?
I am Nick Davis. I am the head writer and the GM for the High Int Low Whiz podcast, where the smartest people you know are the dumbest people you've ever met. And we live up to the name. My players make the worst possible choices, and it is the most fun I've ever had GMing a game.
I think we make nothing but the best choices because everybody listens to me 50% of the
time. You can find us on any listening platform. You can find us on YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify. And if you like the show, leave us some comments. If you want an NPC named after you, let me know, and I will name an NPC after you.
All right. You can find all three of us on the Infinite Reimagine podcast. There'll be a link in the description to that as well. Also, in a week or so, you're going to be able to see the three of us on this very channel where we're talking about fantasy movies on Camp Film Camp. So join us there as well. But for Mike, for Nick, and for me, talk to us in the comments. Thanks.